나무 묘호랭개교 나무 묘호랭개교 나무 묘호랭개교 Hello everyone. Thank you for being here. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Very happy that you're here. Hopefully you're healthy and secure. It kind of has a little bit to do with what I thought I would talk about today. Just kind of a getting back to basics. Why do we practice? What's going on? I was thinking about this. And I've thought about this since I first heard this idea. You remember, I'm a transplant from Canada. I was very young when I came to the United States, but very soon upon arriving in the United States in 1969, there were the Kent state uprisings. There were so many things going on of unrest. Things haven't changed much. But this word, I'd never heard this word in so many sentences and used in so many ways. And it was super confusing. It's still confusing. People talk about freedom. What the heck do you mean by that? Freedom to say, do, and be. Freedom of thought, freedom of vocation, freedom from the money system, from banking, from regulation, freedom to get away with anything you want, freedom to be a jerk. What the hell do you mean when you say freedom? You know, and a lot of people, especially in the United States, would recoil. How could you ask me that? It says free, it's the land of the free. Define it. What the heck do you mean? Well, we're free. No, come on. Think a little deeper. What does freedom mean to someone living in Yemen right now? Maybe to those people right now, they can't even conceive of being free from the fear of being hit by a bullet any moment of the day. Live with that. That's not free, right? Freedom. Ask the elderly, what would you like to be free of? A lot of them would say this arthritis or some kind of affliction. Some would be depressing, free of this life. I'd like to be done with it. Seriously. Some would say freedom from old age. I want to live forever, right? The other end of the scale. Ask what somebody living in North Korea would say. They wouldn't even know what to say to that. They live in such a closed, authoritarian dictatorship that they don't even know there exists all this technology and everything. They think their leader is a god. They're taught this from childhood. The brainwashing that goes on, the marketing. We're no less afflicted by it. The marketing here, people live for it. Social media is a huge marketing campaign. Make your opinions, choose a side, be a this, be a that, don't be a this, don't be a that. By the way, buy this, buy this. We're unregulated, crazy capitalism. Capitalism does not work like without regulation. And right now we're full of monopolies everywhere. So, Gurdjieff. No, I didn't just have a bad physical reaction to something. Gurdjieff is, I believe he was a Russian thinker, philosopher. And there's a book that's been around a long time, since early 20th century, called The Fourth Way. And in the front of the book, early in the book, Gurdjieff basically states that all of us, mankind, humankind, that basically we just fall through life. He says we just wait for things to happen to us. And based on what happens to us, we react. We're basically sleeping through life. We're just reacting to whatever stimulus is put in front of us. That's a pretty harsh indictment of modern life. What he proposed was that we wake up so that we can decide what action to take. Instead of reacting to the world and the environment and our lives, be what you would call proactive. What does that mean? That means acting on your own accord, having your own thoughts, not motivated by fear, influence, peer pressure, advertising, what I want to be when I grow up. But really, deeply, what satisfies my sense of fulfillment? To be me. What does that look like? Is that a worker? Is that an owner? Is that a monk? Is that what? You know, the old question. Who am I? What am I? What am I doing here? Right? But really, really turn inward and find that. How many of us even do that? If we do, not for very long. We generally respond to trends, fashion of the day, things we'd like to do. We're just responding to the environment. We're not thinking on our own. Really, I want you to think about that. How much of what you think, do, say is based on some version of compliance to something, to the market, to the fashion, to the, oh gosh, it's like, you know, it's a cliche. We all want to be loved, but we all want to be loved by what? The society, the marketing campaign, the boss? What are we representing of ourselves? Or are we always changing masks so that we can be accepted, belong to, be a part of? Take a hard look at your life. Really chant about it. And then consider, what would you do if you didn't do that? Who are you if you're not representing a fashion, a trend, a chasing for approval? What do you want? You, not what you think you want of the society around you. I know that's hard because we're social animals, but that has been completely usurped by the will of others. Oh, you want to be part of something? Be part of this camp. Be part of that camp. Okay, now I'm part of something. But you're not. You're just a willing player in somebody else's power play, politic. You know, Siddhartha, when he was growing up a prince in a very protected environment, there was a lot of things he didn't have to be confronted about. He was just left to be confronted with his own body and his own mind. And even then, he was conditioned, right? All of us are. All life is conditioned. But I'm sure his father and his mother had parameters, albeit maybe few. I don't know. Do you know what a princely life is like 3,000 years ago? So he goes out into the world 3,000 years ago in India. There wasn't a middle class. There was a caste system. I suppose you could say the merchants were a middle class. There weren't, mostly it was farmers, right? Agrarian. But, you know, there was a merchant class. The Silk Road was not far away, so undoubtedly they knew a middle class. But it doesn't change the fact that people were dealing with being alive and how to survive. Nowadays, we think of social situations as things to be survived. So we're so pampered, right? But, you know, the old story goes, birth, sickness, old age, death. But really think about that a little more deeply than just the cliche of how Siddhartha came to search for a solution. You know, I'm sure he'd seen birth and death within the boundaries of the clan, the castle, as it were, the kingdom. But what I think didn't escape him was that the trauma. There was this, you know, birth is a beautiful thing, but there is an aspect of trauma to it. Just look at the child with the mouth wide open and the uvula dangling in the background. Ah! There's some trauma there. Perhaps understandable. Don't know. And certainly when people are sick, depending on the system, dis-ease, right? Disease. It means no longer at ease. And old age, decrepitude, the things we can't do anymore, the things we can't do well anymore, the things we don't even want to try doing anymore, pain. There's a lot of pain in life. And a lot of it is kind of a seesaw of pain, fear, fear of pain of so on. And I'm sure what that distills to for Siddhartha is, I know this life as a wonderful, beautiful thing, but as I've gotten older and now I'm in my teens, I want more out of life. And I'm starting to feel longing for things that I don't have or experience I don't have. Things that I don't think I can get within the environment of the kingdom unless I toe a particular line, follow a specific given, and then I become a reactor. I always have been, but now parameters are being set. And I go out into the world and everybody's doing this constantly, every day. But life is such an amazing, wonderful thing. And it occurs to him there's got to be a way that we can live this life to its fullest, to appreciate the wonder of it without this obstacle, these obstacles. obstacles of fear, obstacles of intimidation, obstacles that generally come down to having to respond to our environment rather than being a part of our environment. Why is there this duality, this beauty of life, and all this pain? Pain of betrayal, pain of lost love, pain of longing, pain of birth, pain of sickness, pain of old age, pain of fear of death. It's not the death that he's trying to get rid of, it's the fear of it and everything that comes along with it. Well, that makes more sense, right? It's not so magical. It's just a plain everyday observation. How can we stop having our lives ruled by our fears, our longings, and voluntarily give up ourselves to whatever campaign is pulling us, that's more popular, that's more resonant with what I think I feel? When you start thinking about it in this regard, Siddhartha was seeking freedom. Freedom from influence, pain, betrayal, hardship. Not to never get sick. See, that's where these little stories lead you. Oh, with Buddhism, I can stop ever feeling sick again. I can cure all diseases. That never was what Buddhism was about. What Buddhism was about was, should you happen to be sick or diseased or dealing with these sufferings, these stresses, these anxieties, how can you detach from that? How can you live your life still wondrously and not be mentally caved in by these Mara, by earthly stuff? What's going on there? Why can't we have a cold and just smile through it? Well, I'm so stuffy. My throat is sore, and I need. Why do we have to do that? And yes, if our attitude changes toward it, and we're really focused on a wonderful life, don't we heal faster? Don't we let certain things get us down? And instead of letting them get us down, we respond differently to them as, oh, you're so annoying. Go play in your corner. Oh, I know my energy's low today. I'm trying to get over a cold. But let's do this anyway. Or you shouldn't come close to me because I'm contagious right now. So I'm going to occupy myself on that book I've always wanted to read or write or the art I always wanted to paint, and just let my body heal and do a lot of nurturing things so that I can feel good while I go through this whatever. Right? Some people are able to do that, but not generally. So Buddhism is a way of understanding, experiencing the world from the point of view of this life is amazing and incredible and awesome. And if there's some little slowdowns along the way, let them be, get rid of them as soon as possible so I can get back to my full expression of this wonderful life. Squelch the suffering, squelch the stress, the anxiety, the disappointment. Screw that stuff. Let's not focus on that. Let's not be reactive. Instead, be active. Because when we take the driver's seat and we take control of what we want to appreciate and experience in this life, has nothing to do with all of that other stuff. That's just rain on the windows. I'm achieving a wonderful life. And all that stuff, that's just stuff. It's impermanent. It doesn't mean anything. My life is impermanent. So every moment of it, I want to make something great from. I think I'll do this and see what joys and pleasures and self-knowledge and things I can appreciate by doing that. And maybe by doing that, I can share it with others, and people who are interested would also share in the joys and the liberation of what I'm doing. That'll hook me up with society. That'd be wonderful. I don't want this to do this because it'll get me friends. I want to do this because whatever friends I may encounter will be influenced in a positive way by it. It's hard. It's hard to get in that brain and think of yourself as driving your life instead of navigating everybody else's. That's not a life. That's like Gurdjieff says. We're just falling through it, responding to everything that we run into. And this is basically what Siddhartha was doing. He's like, all these things happen in the world, and people are responding without the freedom of decision, of commitment, of direction. They're all just responding and stressed and anxiety-filled. They have no sense of what it is to be alive. Their self, their bucket of self, their idea of self is just a punching bag, waiting for the next right cross or kick, and then trying to respond to that. So he wanted to find a universal way to release people, liberate people from these stresses and anxieties. He was talking about living life to its fullest in this life with all the noise, but not responding to it, not owning it, not just bathing in it. Be your own life in it. That'll change the color, the sensation of all of it. It won't be such a burden. And think of what a positive influence you'll be with others. They'll want to be around you. Oh yeah, there's that sense of belonging. But that's a good sense of belonging. That's a sangha. Right? Freedom. This is why Buddhism is a daily way to train our minds to stop responding to everything. I don't mean being irresponsible. I mean that inner self, that inner you that wants to be but can't be, not fully, certainly, and maybe not even a little bit, because it's so completely preoccupied with satisfying agendas. What about your agenda? Do you even have one? Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo is a sound, a vibration, a philosophy, a gathering of ideas, a conceptual experience of self in this samsaric world that is unaffected, uninfluenced, non-responsive to life unaffirming energies, things that counter or would manipulate your highest life potential. Clears the way for your mind to become free. Because if you can think clearly, then all of these, what normally would be obstacles in Buddhism, right? Disease, car accident, loss of a job, loss of a lover, a sprained ankle, a nasty cut on your arm, an affliction, name it, and just spend all day talking about afflictions, our inability to let ourselves understand something, our opinions, our narrowness of thinking, our justifications, right? On and on and on and on. In Buddhism, there's one simple word for it: obstacle. Okay, it's an obstacle. Obstacle to what? The freedom, the liberation of your mind to not be slavishly responding to those things, those obstacles, and instead focus on driving the boat, driving the car, driving the life, driving toward a freedom of thought, of mind, of experience, regardless of whatever is going on in samsara. You're in it, but how do you think, feel, respond to it? Do you respond to it with inventiveness, with seeing through it, with an agenda of your own that's nurturing, life-affirming, and elevates not just yourself, but obviously the people around you? I would say to you, and I think as a Buddhist, you should understand that what we do is all in the service of freeing of thought, freeing of mind from the oppressive obstacles that are constantly being pushed at us by agendas, by groups, by organizations, by institutions, by governments, by you name it. Anything external that wants your attention to convert you to become mentally slaves to what they want you to do, slaves to you having a brand, having a point of view, having a politic, having you name it. Owning your opinions, because obviously you can't make your own. Yeah, I did. I decided to go there. Why'd you decide to go there? Well, they believe this, they believe that. Well, it's not them that's believing it. You caved, and you're responding to them, and you're saying, okay, I'll be a part of you. Who are you? What are you doing in this? What do you hope to gain by it? Being part of the club? You can go to Costco or a Sam's Club and become part of a club. Freedom. Real freedom is in the mind. Freedom isn't being able to get away with stuff. So, I just wanted to say a few words about freedom, about Buddha, about our practice. Just another thing to keep in mind, perhaps to motivate you to make your life more your own and not so much responding to other stuff. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. I hope you have a really awesome day. Be yourself. Like yourself. I like you for being here, for practicing. It's not so much like as pride, I guess. I think you're awesome. So keep it up. Remember why you're doing this. Sometimes that's all you need to do to drag yourself out of bed, or in my case, there have been times when I've dragged myself in front of my Butsudan. It's embarrassing to admit, but hey, we all go through really shitty times. And we need to remind ourselves, oh yeah, this is what I'm working to get rid of, this kind of pain. Free yourself. And take care of yourself. Use the comment section. Talk about this. Let me know if there's any issues, primal, fundamental issues like this, or more specific to Buddhism, that you'd like me to talk about. Okay? In the meantime, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.